All right, here we are for season 3, week 2 of the Porsche Cup racing. This is Porsche Cup fixed at Fuji Raceway. My qualifying time is terrible. It's absolutely terrible in comparison to what I have been doing in my practices. And my practices have been, as I realized, as I started the early practice on this track, I've been using the wrong setup for the track, and this track is a lot colder than the track I've been driving on, so I need to practice a little bit different. So I'm starting in 15th position. I'm hoping to at least get up into 10th position so I'm not losing a bunch of points. I get a decent start down the outside of the track. I'd rather be on the inside, but it's just too crowded for me to get over. You can see me here in the foreground. Accidents occurring already. By the time we are able to get to this point, we are up into 12th place, still with a turn to go. 13th now. And I'm just trying to settle into laps. Driver goes off in front of me, bringing me back into 12th position. And I'm thinking, okay, this is a pretty good start. The other thing I should, there's a couple things I want to mention as we go through this race. The first is that, I don't know what's going on, but there aren't a lot of people driving it right now. And so the splits are such a way, you can see some contact between me there. I get knocked into this driver as a result of my initial contact.
Pushed into you.
Apologize to him. Anyway, I barely avoid getting hit there again.
Hey, brake check.
Which makes me brake late there. You can see just chaos in the initial opening lap here.
I'm just trying to go for safety points, and you guys, it's my first time driving
this guy
a fucking
complaining
car,
about
you guys
safety
driving
points.
like retards.
It's really hard to do
Everyone
safety
has
here
a retard.
in the
Not getting safety rating here.
in the Porsche Cup. Let me get rid of this audio so we don't have to listen to
Go into the Miata.
the amount of complaining that's about to happen. All right, so I find myself in 11th place going into lap 2. My lap time in my opening lap is not particularly great because, of course, I was avoiding a bunch of accidents. I had a small collision there. So let me talk about a couple things. One, I've been practicing this track quite a bit, but then as I realized, I've been practicing the track in the wrong settings. So it's quite a bit colder here than what I was expecting. So the car just doesn't have the grip I was expecting. Normally in my practice, I'm setting 141s and 140s. Here, I'm finding that I'm setting like 143s at the most, 144s typically, and I'm just very frustrated with my pace. I now find myself in 10th position, so I'm in scoring position at this point. Which is good. I'm not losing points, and I just want to see if I can maintain that. The other thing I will mention here is this is a pretty difficult track, and I'm going to walk you through the laps in a second here. Another driver behind me goes off, releasing some of the pressure on me. This is a very difficult track, especially this third sector that you see us in right here. And I just came back from a coaching session with my coach Bernardo Faria, who's fantastic. But we did a very different coaching session. We didn't actually drive this course. By the time I'm getting into this race, this is, I think, Friday, and the entire week has kind of gone by at this point. And what we did was we looked at Virginia and how I raced in Virginia, and he immediately pointed out a bunch of things I'm going to say could do better, but I felt like at the time during coaching, and you got to be open to the coaching, I felt like he was pointing out everything I was doing wrong. And he's not wrong. Like, that's his job. That's what I pay him for. But boy, it was a little demoralizing. In particular, the main thing he was saying is you're not using as much as the track as you should be. And so that has me kind of rethinking how I'm approaching the racing here. And this is not my best performance ever. So So yeah, very difficult track. A lot of blind corners in this track. You really have to have it memorized in order to um, take advantage of your opponents in front of you. And the other thing Bernardo was talking to me about was thinking about racing as like a chess match in a way. Like, think about where you're going to go, not just this lap or what's going on here, but what is your intention for the next lap? Where are you trying to be? Now, he also, I'll point out some differences here, but let me walk you through this lap coming up as we move into lap 4. But Bernardo also races at a much higher class than I do, and so he literally drives with people who he sees on a regular basis. These are the same drivers he's seeing on a regular basis. They don't have the accidents you just saw myself get into and others. All right, so here we go. Starting lap 4, it's a long straightaway. You build up speed to about 163, 164 miles an hour before you slam on the brakes at about the 150 mark, letting the ABS do its job. I downshift into first gear here just to give me a little more grip, and then upshift immediately into second so that I can just hit the gas without spinning the car. Approaching this left turn, braking into fourth gear, sliding here, accelerating, staying in fourth gear, and as you go into this long sweeping right, braking to pivot the car around this corner, braking again to pivot the car around this corner, sometimes downshifting to third gear, then immediate left down into second gear, and as soon as you come out of this, you want to be hitting the accelerator, and here we go, taking advantage of as much of the track as possible. I did not there. I should have actually hit the gas earlier and been off the track a bit. So here too, this is entering the third sector. I'm too far to the right, and that's why I screw up here. This is a lot of back and forth as you go into this, and then a blind corner here to the right, looking for that pylon right there, that stanchion. That's where my signal is. And again, I'm on triple monitors. There's a stanchion to my left now that I see, and that gives me the clue as to when to start braking. And then here, I should be going a little bit deeper than I'm going. Down into second gear, accelerating out of that turn, going off the track as much as possible there. And that's a whole lap down to the straightaway. The lap ends right where this overhanging board is, you see here with the lights on it. And that lap, not a great one, a 1:44.14. Again, I'm setting 140s and 141s in my practice. So, okay. So let me go back to kind of my point here is one of the things Bernardo was talking about was taking advantage of the entire track. The off-track limits are pretty significant. So, I mean, you can go significantly off the course as long as you have two wheels on the course and take advantage of that. And this is the thing Bernardo and I were talking about primarily, which is think about where the off track is. Imagine there's a wall there, so you want to avoid it. You can see how I get more off track there. I've hit the accelerator at a better time there. This is starting off as a better pace. And as we go into this corner, I want to show you braking down into second gear, cutting across this. This is much better than last time. Back into second gear, cutting across this, and you can see I can take advantage of a huge amount of the off track there and be fine. I can do this faster as well. I see the stanchion out my left window. I'm cutting this too hard too. I should be going deeper, and then I should be going deeper here, which you're going to see me do in my next race. So the other thing I wanted to point out was, and as I was saying, Bernardo is racing people that are in the 7 to 10,000 I rating. I am currently sitting at about 1475, trying to get to 2,000, and it's a very different driving. Like as he watched me racing and was pointing out where I was making mistakes and where I could do better. He was also noting that other drivers just didn't have the control, or you didn't have the trust in those drivers to do what they were supposed to do at any given time. The other feedback he gave me during our coaching session, you've heard me say time and time again, when somebody has more pace than me, I will sometimes tell them, I can see you coming up behind me, go ahead and pass me on the left, and I will let them by. And he almost had a visceral reaction to, why am I doing that? If you're going to let that person go through, you're probably going to let the person behind them go through too. Additionally, you're setting kind of an expectation with the other drivers that, oh, this guy's just going to let me through. Why are you giving up places like that? And he's got a good point. So I think I'm going to stop that practice at this point. And if somebody's faster than me and they, can prove it, I may slightly get out of the way below that exit there, which gives this driver behind me a much better run. Who made is right behind me. 2.2 seconds down this long straightaway, drafting off of me. The other thing he pointed out a lot in Virginia was when I was racing in a situation such as this, I was giving that driver too much room. I would drive in the middle of the course rather than squeeze the driver. I'm not saying squeeze him off the track, but I am saying squeeze him so that he has less space to pass than what he's taking. And so I need to practice some of that too. My point in having that training session was really to talk about racecraft as opposed to just driving faster on courses. I do need to drive faster on courses, and I have another coaching session set up with him so we can practice Bathurst, which is coming up not next week but the week after. Next week is Imola, so I'm really looking forward to that, one of my favorite tracks. And we'll see how it goes after that. I want to get with him earlier on the Bathurst training so that I can prepare for the week ahead, and I'm hoping to commit some significant time to trying that race. That is a really crazy racetrack and what I'm looking forward to. Okay, so here we are on lap 7, about to end lap 7 and go into lap 8. The other thing I should say is, whoa, yep, that was a huge mistake right there, as I was trying to keep ahead of these guys behind me, and I'm just not able to do it. So I give up a couple places simply because I make that mistake. However, you notice I move in here to try to block a little bit because I'm not willing to just give up the spot. I'm going to make this guy work for it if he really wants it. Very frustrated with my driving on this course right here. Collision between that driver and myself. I want to go back and take a quick look at that in slow motion because at the time I just felt like we're racing. I am again not willing to just give up spots at this point, and I'm trying to embrace what Bernardo has talked about here. And so as we come around the corner, I have to avoid the driver on the right, and so the driver on the left, unfortunately, takes the hit from me, which I would say that's just a racing incident, quite frankly. Driver on the left looked like he was steering into me, so I reacted, and that's what you get. So, all right. So anyway, I'm sitting in 12th place. Not great. Not really where I want to be, but it is what it is, and we're hoping to just get through this without any more major incidents. We've already had a few collisions. Yeah, this has been a tough couple races. My first 2 races are a little tough for me to stomach, as you'll see. But fortunately, they're not as, none of them are ending in, spoiler alert, none of them are going to end in a disqualification or a trip to the pits. Most of the mistakes that you see are my own doing, and I recognize that. I have practiced this track quite a bit, but again, not in these conditions, and I really should have. I need to go deeper there for that turn. I see where I can get a less of a cut there. I need to smooth out the angle as much as possible. Driver in the back having some network issues. All right, so I'm about a second ahead of Harold behind me. I have lost a second and a half to Thomas in front of me. I will say this: it's a difficult course, but it is a fun course to drive. You can't really see. There's downhill here, so you're downhill braking. There you can definitely see the downhill, and then you're accelerating down this hill, still going downhill here into this hard left turn, still going downhill. It's actually quite a downhill spread there into an uphill at this point. See the driver behind me spin off, releasing some of the pressure. And then back to a downhill. And this is the entering of Sector 3 right here. This is the most difficult part of the course, I just said. I should have cut that better. And I can cut that more too. This one I do okay. But this is an uphill climb through these blind corners. I can cut this more too. And then I should be going more to the outside here than I am. That's actually pretty good. That was actually pretty good right there. And here I should be going deeper than I am. You can see that red car driver in front of me going a little bit deeper. That's not too bad, but I could do a little bit better to get a better run out of here. It's so foggy. Next time around, I'll actually point out Mount Fuji as we go past it. We are on lap 10, and we have 5 to go. So this is a 15 lap race. I am in 12th place, and I am pulling away a little bit from Harold at this point. I'm about 1.8 seconds ahead of Harold. I've settled down a little bit. The other thing I would mention is it's really hot in where I live right now, and which is not Europe, but it's really hot today, and so I am just drenched in buckets of sweat as I'm doing this race. So that was also maybe factoring in just a little bit. Not trying to make any excuses. There you can see a good exit. I take a lot of that road there. I could have cut that corner on the side a little more. Still can cut that more than I am. And those are not off tracks at all. Now, I will say, not necessarily in this race, but in my next race too, there's been a shift in my mental attitude a little bit around taking an off track, like taking a penalty point intentionally to make sure I get a better exit out of something, and just sucking up the penalty point at that point. There's a couple times where I'm just like, to heck with it, I'll take the penalty point if that gives me the better exit here, because I'm not rolling in a lot of penalty points at this point. All right, so this is lap 11. You're watching kind of a parade at this point. I'm going to skip forward a couple laps just so you can see. Lap 12, I am in 11th place. A driver in front of me had to go into the pits after taking damage, which drops me into 11th place. Behind me is Who Made. And then I'm going to go to lap 13. I'm still in 11th place, holding on to this position for dear life if I can. But Who Made is creeping up behind me. And I'm going to go to lap 14. Okay, let's just watch the final 2 laps here and see what we learn. Who Made went off the road. Raniero Ranero Borges is in 12th position behind me. I am currently in 11th, and I've opened up a gap of 3.6 seconds to him. You know, interestingly enough, I thought the tires were going to take a lot of damage in this track. And unlike some other tracks, I haven't really noticed the tire degradation here, or the heat building up in the tires. Now, some of that may be that it is cool out here. You can see I get a good exit out of that. Still about 3.5 seconds ahead of Raniero behind me. Raniero? I think that's how I'm pronouncing it right. Good cut there. Really good cut there. Could even cut further there. Decent cut there. This is the hardest part of the track, and where you slow down the most, and where the most spin-outs and accidents seem to happen. It really will catch you off guard if you are not super focused in this particular area and looking for your braking cues. I swing wide in there. That was too wide. That allows Raniero to catch up, almost 0.8 of a second through Sector 3. However, we are going into the final lap right now. He has to make up 2.5 seconds on me to take my place and pass me. And I'm feeling fairly confident that that is not going to happen. I open up this section a lot better than he does. But I'm also, knowing this is the last lap and knowing I have this gap behind me, I'm not pushing myself and I'm not pushing the car to the limit. I'm not in a position where I'm going to catch the driver in front of me, and I'm certainly not trying to set a faster lap. I just need to stay ahead of the person behind me. He's caught up about 0.4 at this point, but again, I'm not too worried about it. He is not going to catch up 2 seconds through this sector, Sector 3, which is what I'm thinking at this point. So you can actually see me taking this a little more cautious. He closes up the gap to about 1.6 seconds. I just want to make sure that as I hit the final turn, I have enough of a acceleration. I give up some of the final turn to get a decent acceleration out of the final turn and beat him in the drag race to the finish line, which this is it right here. Just make sure I hit it right. I do. He slides a little bit right there. 1.2, 1.3 seconds behind me. There's no way he's going to catch me. And again, I took it easy that lap just to make sure I completed the race. So we start in, I think, 15th place. We end in 11th. Let's see what that does to our results here. So here we are, results of this race. I lose 0.04 safety rating as I had a couple collisions, as you saw. I gained 5 I rating points, bringing me up to 1479. The strength of field was 1505 here, so a little stronger than I'm performing at. But yeah, so here we are down here. Started in 15th place, ended in 11th. Fastest lap, a 142.3. So actually not too bad. I was starting to get back down to where I needed to be. And I gained incident points. I gained 6 incident points, which is what caused the drop there. Yeah. So, you know, starting off, I'm in the splits. There's not that many drivers driving this right now. So normally I would be, I think, driving people just a little slower than this, but we have some drivers in here who are, I mean, this driver's at 1700, 1520, 1730, I mean, 1716. Now, this is not necessarily indicative of everybody's speed, but I'll tell you, I mean, as soon as I broke into the 1500 range, it's like suddenly I was racing drivers that were 200 points higher than me, and clearly they were setting faster laps than me. So I do need to get faster. I mean, that's what it tells me. I just need to get faster. So anyway, so that was race 1 at Fuji. A lot of learning from my last coaching session. A lot of learning from this race. we can see how it plays out in race